Like the place value system, we multiply or divide by powers of 10 to convert between metric measurement units. Let's practice making metric measurement conversions. Let's practice by playing a game called Metric Mania. You will need the Metric Mania playing cards. These will be placed face down as you play. The metric measurement chart will help you to make the conversions. You will need the Metric Mania recording sheet, and there will be 2 players. You will need the Metric Mania answer key, and finally, you will need the spinner. The spinner can be made by using a pencil and a paper clip. Let's watch Helen and Gwen play a game. Helen draws a card, and it is 24 hectometers equals something decimeters. To do this, she sees that she's moving from hectometers to decimeters, which is a greater unit moving to a smaller unit, and that means we need to multiply. It takes more of the smaller unit to equal the larger unit. To do that, we're going to multiply by 10 to go from the decimeter to the meter, 10 to go from meter to decameter, 10 to go from decameter to hectometer, which is 10 times 10 times 10, which equals 1,000. So we're multiplying by 1,000. 24 times 1,000 equals 24,000. This is the recording sheet. Gwen takes a look at the Metric Mania answer key. If you remember, the card had the number on it, so she can find the answer on the answer key. She sees that Helen was correct, so Helen records the conversion that she made was 24 hectometers converted to 24,000 decimeters, and records that under the amount. Now it's Gwen's turn. Gwen picks card 8, and it reads 53 decameters equals something decimeters. Looking at the metric measurement chart again, we see she's going from decameters to decimeters. Going from a greater unit to a smaller unit means we need to multiply. It takes more of a smaller unit to equal the larger unit. So the decimeters to the meters would be times 10. From meters to decameters is another times 10. 10 times 10 equals 100, so we're going to multiply by 100. 53 times 100 equals 5,300. On the recording sheet, Helen first checks to make sure that Gwen was correct, and she was. So she writes down what she started with, the 53 decameters, equals or is equivalent to 5,300 decimeters. Back to Helen. She draws card 8. And it says 693 millimeters equals something centimeters. Using the metric measurement chart, we're moving from millimeters to centimeters, which is actually going from a smaller unit to a greater unit. And that means we need to divide. A smaller unit is just a part of a greater unit. To divide, we're going to look at 693 divided by 10 equals 69 3/10. Back to our recording sheet. Gwen checks to see if the answer is correct, and it was. So Helen writes down the 693 millimeters that she started with, and then the conversion amount, 69 3/10 centimeters. The 2 girls continue to play, and we'll just see what they recorded as they went through their game. Now it's time to go to the next step of the game. The first number that Helen is going to add is 24,000. But as we look at the amounts on her sheet, she has a number with 3 decimal places, or 3 digits after the decimal point. In order to make it easier to add decimals, we're going to add a decimal point and 3 zero placeholders to each number. Be sure to line up your decimal points as you write them down and put in those 0 placeholders if needed. When she adds them up, she gets 29,170 and 259 thousandths as her score. Let's take a look at Gwen's scores. These are the numbers that Gwen has to add. We look and we see that we don't really need to worry about those units, so we'll take them away, write down the first number, and notice again she has a number that also has 3 digits after the decimal point. So we want to be sure to put in the 0 placeholders for her numbers as well. Gwen writes down the rest of the numbers, being sure to line them up with the decimal point, adds them together, and she gets 12,696 and 999 thousandths. Here are their two scores. Normally, I would think that Helen is the winner because she has the greater amount, but this game is not quite over. You need to get the spinner. Notice the G and the L. The G stands for greater, the L stands for lesser. Spin the spinner, and in this case, it landed on the L for lesser. So the number that is less than the other number is the winner. So in this case, Gwen won the game. Metric measurement can be converted by multiplying or by dividing by powers of 10. Even though the measurement has been converted to different units, the amount is still the same.